Over the last 4 years, I've worked with more than 100 different fashion brands, from early startups to well-established ones, and I keep seeing the same critical mistakes happening over and over again. In 2025, the fashion industry is completely different from what it was just a year ago, and the strategies that worked just a year ago are completely dead now. In this video, I'm not holding anything back. I'm giving you the exact playbook that is working right now. No fluff, no theory, just the proven strategies that my most successful clients are using to dominate. Whether you're just starting out with your first collection or you're struggling to scale past 6 figures, I'm laying out the complete blueprint. So let's just get into it. So these are the reasons that most fashion brands just waste money, and this is the exact loop that they're stuck in, right? So what happens? First of all, they pick a platform to advertise on. Let's say that it's Meta. They have some creatives that they have been, using previously for the Instagram, or they may have some influencers who've been wearing their products and they decide to use those for their ads. Then they write some copy to match those ad creatives, and then they put it to the test to hopefully generate a few sales within the first 5 to 7 days, so they're at least just not wasting money and so they can get some sales, right? What happens? They fail. Whether you're just starting out or whether you already are making money, this is the same loop, right? Either you're just starting out with this loop or you're trying to scale from this loop and the same thing happens, right? Because you do not know how to either one, use the platform correctly or scale on the platform, and you do not know how to talk to and speak to your audience throughout creatives and copy, and therefore you just fail and you stay stuck in the same loop, right? And what does this leave you with? No leverage whatsoever at all. So to actually break down what happens here, let me walk you through a few steps. First of all, you have a lack of data, right? So you don't know what to make your decisions upon because you need data to back it, and you do not have that, which is fair enough, but you still need some knowledge to actually acquire this data. You can do that without running the ads at a proper level, and then you can actually acquire this data. But as long as you do not have it, you cannot make proper decisions because you need data to back them. You have no foundation because either if you're just starting out with ads, obviously you don't have any previous track record of customers or who is buying your products, etc., or if you're already running ads and you just want to scale, your scaling foundation is so weak that every time you try, you just end up back at the same level, right? So maybe you're using the wrong platforms to scale. You do not know how to allocate your budget to each platform to acquire the right customers at the right time and scale the budgets on each platform, and therefore you maybe also be having a back end, and that is also a very important thing to keep in mind. Yeah, maybe you don't know how to use the platforms, or if you do, you may be having a back end, which means that either you're on an outdated software hosting your website, or your website is not conversion optimized, or any of these things, right? So a back end is nearly the worst thing of all, because that is what your customers are actually buying from. It's like having a bad store that no one can walk into, right? You're not gonna make any sales. Now, the last few things I've written here is that you have useless creatives and copy. You do not know how to write proper copy, and you do not know how to use the right creatives, and therefore you cannot scale. So let's move on to how to actually use your money towards the right platforms and how to allocate the budget. So once again, the reason that most brands end up just wasting money is because they don't know when, where, nor how to allocate their ad spend. Therefore, they end up wasting it. So let me break down each platform for you so you know what purpose they each serve when it comes to fashion brand ads specifically. So let's go through the budget right here. The first thing we have is the Swan. Now, the Swan is Meta. Meta is where you want to put 60% of total budget, simply because Meta is your main driver for sales, new acquisition, and retargeting. This is where you're going to drive the most of your sales, whether that be cold traffic or warm audiences. Meta is the best for this. Why? Because first of all, Meta has a lot of data. So they know how to get your customers to be direct consumers and actually go ahead and buy from the first time they see your ad. And this is a lot of things that other platforms struggle with because they don't know how to convert your audience at the first time they see your product. But Meta has a lot of data, so they can do that. Now, you also have the branding aspect of Meta, which means that obviously you're reaching out to customers, you're getting new eyes on your brand, and therefore that is branding. But their database is so strong that the amount of retargeting you can do is insane. This is the platform where the strongest retargeting is, compared to any of the platforms, right? Because all of the data that you're getting on your website, the Meta pixel picks up on that data, therefore you can retarget it. Whether that traffic is coming from organic visitors like, TikTok or Google or whatever, Instagram Reels, that traffic can be converted into paid traffic because you can show that organic traffic your paid ads through retargeting. Now, for this, you should spend at least 50 a day, right? We see the best starting results by at least spending $50 a day. You can start with less. We've seen, $30, $33 also work, but 50 a day is a very good starting point, and it is also what allows you to kind of spread your budget out, across a few campaigns without, diluting it too much. Let me just show you an ad account where here we spent around 2.7 million Danish kroner, which is around 600-700k euros. We made a 2.79 return on ad spend for that in a 90-day period. So these are the kind of numbers that you can actually acquire throughout Meta alone, right? Like spending, 600k, getting a 2.79 return on ad spend is great, right? Because the more you scale, the lower your return on ad spend will become. And that's just a normal part of the cycle, right? So moving on to your diamond. Now, what is the diamond? That is Google, the place where your customers search for specific products and your brand. People that are already on the look to buy are the best people to sell to. Therefore, you should allocate around 40% of the budget here. So what are the benefits of Google? First of all, you have the ranking, right? You have customers that are literally searching for your product, and you'll be ranking as the first, search result because you have a strong SEO setup, or you just have a good search Google ads set up. So that is first of all, you can rank high and you can outcompete other brands by doing so. Now you have the search ads as well, which is just when people search directly for you, they'll see your products. And then we have the shopping, which is when people actually are looking to buy directly, and they're searching for not just your brand or your brand's name, but specific styles from your catalog. Then you can display your exact product as the search results once again when they search for it. And therefore you can make a lot of money, because if someone is searching for a linen pair of pants or a leather jacket, and you're the first one to show up and that is exactly what they're looking for, they're pretty keen to buy because they already went on Google to buy, right? So whereas Meta, you're literally convincing people to buy because they haven't been searching for your brand. They're probably just scrolling, through their feed, and then you have to convince them to buy on the spot. Google, they're already interested in buying. 50 days enough to start with Google. It's a strong platform, and it takes some time to actually get good Google results compared to Meta, but 50 a day is enough. Now, moving on to the flower, this is Snapchat, TikTok, and Pinterest. Now, the reason that I'm putting these into the same box is because depending on your brand setup, audience, and prices and products, you can allocate more or less than 10% to these platforms, because they build awareness, and they are also, if implemented correctly, great at generating sales directly. Now, the reason for this is that the CPMs are very, very low on these platforms, as I've written right here, right? Low CPMs means a lot of reach. So when you have a low CPM, which means cost per 1,000, you can reach out to a lot of people for very, very cheap. This allows you to really scale quickly because you can get that traffic onto your website and retarget it with Meta. Now, going back to these three platforms, the main difference between the audiences is that you actually have a completely different audience, right? On Meta, it's pretty broad, but on TikTok, it's pretty young audiences. On Snapchat, it's also pretty young audiences, but for example, on Pinterest, you can target, a pretty broad mix. Like there's 18-year-old girls on Pinterest, there's 65-year-old women on Pinterest, right? And they go to Pinterest for inspiration, etc., etc. So it's very good platforms to, build your brand and get awareness and generate traffic. So that is the main things here, is that you just acquire audiences for cheap, and you can really get a lot of traffic to your site, and you can start with as low as $10 a day on each platform because it's very inexpensive to advertise on them. So that is the quick breakdown of how you should allocate your budget to each platform. So when you master all these platforms, you can start scaling to these levels that I'm showing you right here, because you have omnipresence, right? And when you have omnipresence, you have lots of traffic that you can retarget and funnel into your Meta retargeting, but also your newsletter. And when you do that, you can scale to these kind of numbers, right? As you can see right here, 1.5 million euros a month, 81% increase in revenue with Snapchat, TikTok, Pinterest, and also Meta ads, right? You can see right here. Let me just zoom in a bit so you can see it more clearly. If we actually go down here, oh, now it's all tripping out, but let me go here. 11.5 million Danish kroner, and this is a brand operating on the international market with 81% increase in sales. Just insane, right? And nearly 800,000 people on the website. Without omnipresence and multiple traffic sources, it is hard to reach multi-seven figures a month, right? Simply because you need a lot of traffic, you need a lot of eyeballs on your brand to scale to these kind of levels. And what happens when you actually have these platforms implemented together, you can use TikTok, Pinterest, Google, Meta to generate that traffic and go ahead and put it onto Meta because the pixel picks up on that data. Then they hop on the website, they sign up to a newsletter, and they buy because you maybe have a 10% discount or whatever. They buy, they sign up to the newsletter. Newsletter, what does that mean? That means returning customer, profit, and that means rinse and repeat. So this is kind of the process that we use, right? We use TikTok, Pinterest, Google, Meta to generate traffic, to generate sales. We then use Meta as the main driver for these sales, and obviously along Google and especially Pinterest, but just to keep it simple right here, we use the newsletter to sell our audiences over and over again. That means returning customer, and that means more profit, because if someone buys from you more than once, it's just pure profit, right? So this is the cycle that we use these platforms for. Now, creatives and messaging, these are the most important parts. If you do not know how to speak to your customer, they will not listen nor engage. So here's an example of a good creative and a good copy setup. So let me walk you through it right here. Generic ad copies and creatives have no emotions tied to them, and therefore most brands fail due to not understanding how to identify with their ideal customer. So let me show you an ad that we've created right here for this brand, where we've set it up very, very purposefully, right? We have a strong ad copy. In the travel bag, our dresses will make your destination radiate the sun and the moon. Dance it, wear it, love it. So what do we do here? We speak to the aspirations of the customer. We speak to how they can wear it, in which setting, and for specific lifestyle. We have a carousel that allows the customer to browse through our products, and not only that, but you can also see that the colors of the products are actually looking alike. So therefore we can kind of talk to them in a different colorway, because they're thinking about the sun, we're thinking about traveling, and that is what these colors represent. So we talk to the customer throughout these kind of setups, and we have a direct copy that speaks directly to that customer and the lifestyle. We have unique statics, which means appealing to a unique audience, a unique customer. We are linking directly to the collection page, so when someone clicks on this ad on the dress or on the other dress, they get taken to the direct collection page of the set product style. And then we have the unique styling and posting of the exact product, right? So we have a creative that is very unique, very cool, style the dress, so we can actually allow the customer to identify with this product and see themselves wearing it. And then we have a very simple setup that allows the customer to identify with it. So how should you base your decision making in terms of copy and creatives? The way that we do it is that we go ahead and look at, first of all, what does the customer actually want? Who is the buyer? What is the lifestyle and habits of that said persona? What is the daily language and thoughts of that persona? Who do they want to be, and how do they get inspired? We base our decision making upon this, right? The focus here is to define our ideal persona. To scale and sell anything, we first need to know to who. We use our IPRS process to do deep market research before we start structuring creative and copy. This allows us to target exactly who we want at the creative and copy level, which essentially is how we're going to acquire cold audience customers. Now, what does this mean? This means identity, right? We speak to aspirations and appeal to lifestyle. So this is an identity. Aspirations and lifestyle is exactly what we want to appeal to when it comes to appealing to the right identities of our customers. Moving on to some organic part of the process, which means content, right? Content in the organic side of things. So organic content is just as important as paid. People go to your Instagram, they go to your social proof, who buys your products, how do they style them, and if they identify with the lifestyle that you portray. So on your Instagram, I've taken a screenshot here of Frankie's shop. You have to portray a certain lifestyle that actually appeals to your ideal customer, because that is how they kind of vet your brand, right? If I'm a guy who loves to travel to warm places, I'm not gonna go onto some collection page or some Instagram page and see a lifestyle in, I don't know, the winter or, in the mountains and buy from that brand, because I'm looking to buy something that appeals to my lifestyle, which is warm weather traveling. So here you can see during the winter, Frankie Shop has posted a lot of, lifestyle content, in Paris and New York, people styling the products, showcasing how they can style the bags, showcasing how they can style the trench coats, the jackets, etc., etc. This is what you should use your Instagram for purely, appealing to your audiences in a lifestyle way that actually allows them to identify your products on a deeper level instead of only through paid ads. So what I've written here, just to sum it up: sell lifestyle, use ideal models, and post frequently. So that's just the main thing that you should do. You should sell your lifestyle of your products and brands. So use the models that your customers want to be like, so the people that your customers appeal to be like, and then just post frequently. That's it, pretty basic. Now let's move on to some communities building and why it is important to actually build a loyal customer base and a community around your brand. A community is what allows you to build a brand, right? A brand that solidifies itself over a long period of time. A loyal customer base that will come back and buy from you over and over again is exactly what you need to scale, right? When selling high quality fashion products, it's not just a product, right? It's a piece that the customer treasures for years to come, right? When someone buys your product, they will use this product for 5, 10, 15 years, And when every time you put out a new collection, they're the first ones to buy because they know the value of your product. So when you put people before your product, you end up with a high returning customer rate simply because they come back and buy from you every time we drop a new collection or restock one of the favorite items. And as I mentioned earlier, we only pay for that custom once, the rest is just pure profit. So you only pay to acquire a custom once, and then they come back and buy from you 5, 6, 7, 8 times. That's maybe that's a lot of times, but let's say just 4 or 5 times. And those 3, 4 orders are just pure profit because you only pay for the acquisition of the customer once. So you need to put people before your product if you want to scale and sustain your business over the long run. How do you do this? Well, let me just break it down for you real quick, right? First of all, you have to use email flows and newsletters. So the reason that we use these is because email flows and newsletters is what allows us to keep our customer engaged. We have, repeat customer flows, which means 75 days after someone has bought, we send them an email. We have our newsletters that we send out weekly to keep the customer engaged with the brand and keep them updated on back-end stocks, new drops, just keep them inspired, right? And aside from that, we also use our secret, or not our secret, but our SMS and drop sales tactics. So we use SMS for drops and sales. So when we drop an exclusive product line or we have a sale going on, we send our customers text messages. And we don't do that too often because it has to be exclusive and it has to be like, okay, when they see a text message from us, they really know that they need to buy, right? And it is actually exclusive and people need to open their messages. And if you send too many, they won't. Now, Instagram, that is for community. So Instagram is where you build your community. This is where you engage with your audience on a deeper level. This is where they come back and just look at our brand and like our stuff and follow along, etc., etc. Not really too much sales oriented. And then we have obviously the website and offer if you want to have a higher conversion rate. So you can introduce a few offers a month or a week or whatever you want, or just an offer once in a while to get a high conversion rate. But that is what you need to do and use your website for, converting the customers. Now, just to sum it up, what we went through right here, you want to create VIP customers, you want to create a unique community, and you want to create sustainable and consistent growth, which is what this allows you to do. And then you will actually have a healthy brand. Because if you combine all of these things that I've just walked you through, you're gonna have a healthy brand, you're gonna have consistent and sustainable growth, and you're gonna make money. So this is the exact blueprint and framework that we're using in 2025 for our clients to scale and maintain their growth while actually having sustainable, consistent sales coming in, right? So this is what we use, and this is what you can copy and paste into your own business. Thank you guys so much for watching this video walkthrough, and if you're serious about scaling your fashion brand this year, you can apply to work directly with me one-on-one in the first link in the description. Now, we only work with brands that we genuinely know that we can help, so spots are limited.